Hey everyone, welcome back to Gratuity. I'm your host, Darren Bresnitz. Thank you to everyone who's reached out. We really appreciate all the feedback from the community. If you want to get involved, have a story you want to share, please email us at gratuity@tastemade.com. We are so excited to be joined by Ramzi Budar and Tyler Curtis, who are the founders of Few for All, aka Flour, Eggs, and Water for All, which is a delivery service of pasta, pasta sauce, and cookie dough in Los Angeles. And let me just say, it is delicious. We talk about how they got started, what their safety practices are, the food they've donated to LA Food Bank, and just some all-around great stories about people who've been able to receive their wares. It's really inspirational, it's full of a lot of hope, and it's absolutely delicious. So please sit back and enjoy some Gratuity. Ramzi and Tyler, thank you for taking some time out of your busy delivery service, the cooking of the pasta, the shipping, the sending of the cookie dough. We appreciate for you making some time for us on Gratuity.
Thank you for having us.
You guys are veterans of the hospitality business. And obviously this was like a slow moving situation with the pandemic, but when did it really click for you that not only were things were going to change, but you guys were going to have to change what you were doing for work?
I mean, right out of the gate, once you saw the steady decline of just people going out to eat and how, you know, our covers would go from around 100 a night to 15 or 20, like in the matter of a short week, we knew it wasn't going to be sustainable. We knew dining was changing. Everybody kind of moved to the takeout approach. Just our establishment, you know, felt it wasn't like we weren't established yet as a delivery place and putting effort forward. It's still gambling. You don't know if that's going to make the revenue to operate or if we're just going to lose more money. So finances came into play. Ramzi and I were talking while this was going on about that around the mid-March time. So around mid-March. We were talking about it, and I knew something was going to change dramatically where establishments were going to close. So we came up with a plan of how can we still feed people? How can we still interact? Our definition is to create memories, feed people, cater birthdays, weddings, anniversaries, somehow play a part in your life. And all of a sudden you're going to take that away from us and you're like, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
We have a great pasta program at Pilot. We were just having the conversation of like, what can we do that would be sustainable into the pantry and still create a fun memory that somebody can enjoy in this dark period.
Right.
So,
not to mention, like, you know, especially at that time when we would go to the supermarket, there was no pasta.
There's no pasta.
No pasta, no sauce. And you know what's really interesting is like the stuff that's left on the shelves. I feel so bad for the manufacturers of those things. It's like, even in an apocalypse, I don't want to eat your stuff.
They're like, I'm hungry, but no thank you.
No, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. I'll just starve tonight.
And so what you guys are providing is fresh pasta, 2 different types of sauce for now, 2 different types of cookies, and you're working on expanding. I love the fact that it's dry goods, but then you can still get in the kitchen and cook and have fun with the family. What is it that you love about hospitality that you wanted to take into this moment while you were creating new business and helping people?
Being in service of others is, as Tyler was mentioning, the foundation of what we do, right? And so I think that people want to feel good when they are feeding themselves. When they're taking care of themselves, they also want to feel like they're taking care of other people.
I love that.
That's certainly true for us, right? So everyone is looking for, I mean, and this has been our experience, especially on the delivery trail, interacting with everybody who's been interested in contributing to the cause. Everyone's just has so much good in them, and they're just looking for a way to channel it. And most of us just don't really know where to put all of that good. So we're one of the channels, right? There are so many amazing people doing incredible work, but we're one of the ways you can do it. The benefit is that when you do it through our product, you get to eat restaurant quality pasta and tasty sauce and really insanely good cookie dough and hopefully other stuff. In a time when most people are losing and there's a lot of trauma and a lot of grief, there's a way for this exchange to feel like a win-win. It's a good feeling.
So before we get into the pasta and the sauce and like that, who is benefiting from what you're doing? Can you talk a little bit about what the inner workings of Few is?
When we started, originally we were just doing matching. So for every quart of pasta we would sell, we would donate a quart. As we've grown, really the mission is to give as much as possible to as many people as possible.
Yeah.
And now for every item that we sell, we've gone from donating a quart of pasta to a pound, so about double the amounts.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is great.
It didn't stop there. I mean, what we really wanted to do was to hit the hospitality workers that are out of business or unemployed, just like us at the time, and servers, food runners, bussers, managers, anybody in the hospitality. We just wanted, if they reached out to us, like, we're donating a quart of pasta, or not
Still
even,
doing
sometime more.
Yeah.
You know, like, if anybody hit us up, it's like, our mission is to feed people in any way. This isn't about ourselves in any way. It's like, it's really like just to make an impact on the industry. And that's like our goal of this whole thing.
It's just widening the reach, right? So
Yeah.
we have that one-on-one interaction with our, sisters and brothers in hospitality. And then on a wider scale, connecting with the food bank, who has so much experience distributing food to those in need. And that is it's a universal resource as well. Every major city has a food bank. And so seeing people, from all walks of life, especially now, people from different socioeconomic backgrounds tapping into that resource. It's just, we know that like every pound of food that we give to them it's going to go somewhere, and somewhere that needs it.
Yeah. Especially in this one.
It's so amazing that people can get this type of restaurant quality food, because I was lucky enough to have some last night, and it was like really good. Not that I was, look, not that I was expecting it to be bad, but like, you go, yes, the food's important, but the cause is even more important. And
Right.
if this tastes a certain way, fine, right?
Yeah.
But it was like, I was like, oh, this is like really, really good sauce and really good pasta.
I'm working 16 hours too, every single day.
No. Having that level of food is really important during this time, because it's a different type of cooking. Like, a lot of the stuff that I know that we're putting up is very like staple cooking, getting a meal on the table, humble food, things like that. And then to get this food is it's like a positive feeling.
That's awesome. We miss restaurants, so now you get a little restaurant at your house.
That's how important I want the product to be, is to make your dining room with your kids or your family, your loved ones,
or by yourself,
watching Netflix. It's
Yeah.
like
Whole quart of pasta by myself.
just eating there and then smelling the cookies, but you're like, oh, I just envision myself in a restaurant, or I envision myself like at that social atmosphere. And that's like, it's great to hear.
Even from a service perspective, I'm out there fulfilling deliveries with an colleague of mine, and we used to work together at Nomad, and he and I talk about this a lot. Every interaction that we have with guests, and we call them guests on the delivery trail, has to feel like an interaction we would otherwise have in a restaurant. So if we make a mistake, our service recovery is the same kind of service recovery that we would achieve.
We're running down cookie dough, pasta. We make it nice.
Whatever.
But
It's very nice. It's good branding. It's good packaging. I open it up. It feels special. Let's peek into the recipes a little bit, right? Because you could have picked anything. You could have also picked any type of cookie, any type of pasta, any type of sauce. How did you creatively get here? What was the recipe testing process? And also, what do pasta and cookie dough mean to you guys?
Pretty much every restaurant I've worked in is some form of pasta. I'm lucky enough to have used a arcobaleno extruder for the past 6 years of my career. So I got really familiar with testing different flours, different products, and have came up with a couple recipes that I use. I have a great gluten-free recipe with imported gluten-free flour and just water, and stabilize it. Our pasta recipe that we use is it's fresh Chino Farms eggs. It's, it's imported Compluto flour.
That knowing smirk.
It's
he knows.
This is great.
I don't want to take a shortcut, because I wouldn't take a shortcut in the restaurant.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's my belief behind our product. And that's the same thing with our tomato sauce. It's using the high-end Alta Cucina fucking San Marzano tomatoes, and using fresh basil, and using a crap load of garlic, and
so
really trying to make it as flavorful.
40 pounds of garlic per batch.
Because I don't want to have you open up a pint of my sauce and see it kind of watery, and kind of see it as you would buy a jar of a jar from the store and know that you would have to reduce that down by halfway to get like more flavor. I want it to like impact the pasta.
Ready to go.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I mean, it's the same love and care I take it into the restaurant, and I just want to make sure it hits the table or the guests in any way. We're working on, you know, just different approaches to just fun, creative, homely feel. We talked about like of everybody's kind of creating or kind of centering around what makes them like these homey kind of comfort foods right now. You know, we could have went out and done these, you know, meal packaging, like where it's like this high-end farmers market stuff, and you know, I'll get some fancy meat in, and we can.
And
do this
there's nothing
whole,
wrong with that
whole,
either.
like Blue Apron, like Fox or whatever.
Stuff.
I want this to feel like any time of your week, you can pull our product out and just cook it.
It's ready to go.
It's ready to go for you. And that's what's important. No matter what kind of mood you're in throughout the week, if you're happy, you're sad, we still relate.
Totally. And I think from a menu mix perspective, if you want to use that restaurant lingo, it was just about like, what do we want right now? Like, you know, and going into the grocery store and seeing there's no pasta, there's no sauce. Literally, I went and checked on whether there was cookie dough the first week, an embarrassing 5 to 6 times out of 6. I definitely was craving it, and being able to offer that was purely selfish. And it became like, oh no, other people are into this too. This is great. Let's keep spreading that love.
And please shout out who's making that wonderful cookie dough.
Yeah.
So that's our pastry chef, Mallory. She is the executive pastry chef at the Hoxton Hotel in downtown LA.
She's the best.
She will be the pie face of LA very soon once we get back in the restaurant.
But she is currently the cookie face.
Yeah, she's the cookie face, but she will go back to her pies. Like
I don't think she'll like that we called her cookie face, but that's okay.
But she has great attention to detail and really just is like so precise and meticulous in her work, and she makes this cookie dough look so easy, and we're
so generous too. Like she literally was like, I just want to do something with my time, like anything I can do to help you guys. And then she's just cranking this stuff all by herself. Yeah. And every time we're like, hey, people want more, and she's like, okay, I got it. Here's 100 rolls.
Yeah, and she's still using Valrhona chocolate and like her great product. And I'm like, don't cut corners. She's like, nope, never.
You could taste the butter. You could taste the
butter
gourmetness in those cookies. Even when you're cutting into it from the freezer before they go in the oven, you're just like, okay, I see.
Awesome. That's what we were going for. And you mentioned it, like everything is baked from frozen as well. So like these things are meant to feel like the familiar steps that you would take if you were buying this stuff from a major national brand. The only thing is that finished product has either a restaurant like kiss or like an element of that handmade touch, which we really want. That's what everybody wants.
We're a month 5 weeks in, and it's looking like a pretty uncertain future for restaurants about reopening, at least in any traditional way that any of us have experienced it.
Right.
I think there are going to be more people turning to a business model that you guys have. So can you share some insights of how you got it off the ground, how you're doing it safely? And if someone wants to, in their own town, make handmade pasta or do salads or something that is a similar restaurant quality to go delivery service, how would they go about it and how can they do it correctly?
I mean, I think starting small, starting really streamlined and simple is the best way to control not only the quality of what you're putting out, but also to gauge demand. And I think for us, we just started doing this because, okay, hey, we're able to use this pasta machine. That's an amazing mechanism for producing consistent restaurant grade stuff. And with Tyler's watchful eye and, cutting the pasta and quality control and all that, we felt like, okay, even if we get to 50, which at that time was like, holy crap, like 50 quarts of pasta, like how are we going to do that? Even at that point, we thought, okay, maybe we can manage that. And then for us, it's been a little bit strange adapting to success in this time, if you can call it that, because like we're not doing this for us necessarily. It keeps us busy, and it allows us to like buy more stuff to keep growing, but we're not really benefiting that much from it. So I think like being mindful of as to why you're doing it is very important. I think if we were doing this just to like sustain our families, right? Like we're lucky. It's just the two of us. We don't own a restaurant, so we're not responsible for potentially hundreds of employees. We are very nimble in that way, and we count ourselves as very fortunate. It's easy for us to say like, oh, this is great, like you should do this, and it's why aren't more people doing this? It's not that simple. There are so many variables and so much pressure on business owners that have to deal with the closure of their life's work in many cases.
Yeah.
So if you want to do this sort of thing, it's just do it for the right reasons, take it slow, find some joy in it, and then treat it like it's your real job. And I think that's what it comes down to with Tyler and with myself on the road and interacting with our guests. We treat every step as if we were in the restaurant.
Yeah.
Right.
And that makes us feel grounded and normal. And it also allows us to kind of find our center. So when we're wondering, hey, should we do this next thing to grow? Oftentimes we just ask ourselves like, oh, would we do this in the restaurant? And if the answer is yes, then usually it's the right step.
Yeah.
I
just want to thank my upper chef, my executive chef, giving me opportunities to use my restaurant space and still be able to practice safe measures, gloves, masks. I mean, this whole rollout of when the economy does open up, when it opens back up again, restaurants aren't probably that first wave that's going to open back up. And is it going to be weird when your server has a mask on and gloves? Or are we going to go from sharing plates to everything individual, from just models are going to change. We're going to have to adapt. I think Ramsey and I were talking about this last night. You have to check somebody's temperature, before entering the restaurant. And how would restaurants make that fun? How would
and I guarantee you restaurants will find a way.
They'll find a way.
Most adaptable people on the planet are the people that run restaurants. And so there will be a way for that to feel good and to be kind of
make a game out of it.
Or
you get your amuse as you're getting your temperature test or something.
Man,
that'd be so funny.
We haven't vetted that one yet.
Yeah, you get 98.7% off of something if
nice.
temperature.
Okay. All right, you heard it here first.
You heard it here first.
Hopefully the farms don't get impacted so hard that we lose a bunch of farms.
Yeah, and then the food quality suffers. Yeah.
Produce purveyors, all our guys, our produce guys lost 80% of their business, and what do you do? And they're I'm the small guy, and I just want to help them out as much as I can and make sure I have kind of a small amount of product going through them, and just as much as we can to sustain this while this as long as this goes. Now you look at all these farms that are doing grocery store drops. Now you have these crazy farmers market quality items popping up at all these locations throughout the city, which is nice now. So use your resources. If anybody's going to try and do anything, connect out to the little people or connect out to the farms and really make this not about you opening something, but how you can stabilize the community that's impacted so hard by this.
I think you're going to see the rise of more local community sustainable systems between farms and restaurants and groceries and things like that. The margins were razor thin before, and now I'd say they're close to non-existent. I mean, I'm going to say if you're getting into this to make money, it's probably not the right reason to do it. Yeah. I think community, charity, feeding people, keeping yourself busy. I mean, a lot of these people have that creative itch that needs to be scratched. And there's also no right answer, right? If someone wants to make cocktails to go on the street and walk around with a cooler and sell them, who's to say do it safely that isn't what they want to do? It doesn't have to be,
it's as with everything in this business, it's a labor of love. If you really love what you're doing and you're really passionate about it, share it. It's great. I think just to touch on safety though, that's a big thing that we talk about a lot, is this balance between being productive and being safe and being ambitious and wanting to grow and sort of falling into our old restaurant patterns of let's keep pushing, and then understanding that if you push too hard, the wheels might fall off and God forbid, one of us gets sick, this is all over. We keep our team really small. It's myself, it's Tyler. We see Mallory from 6 feet away when she drops cookie dough. And then our delivery driver and I are opposite ends of the car. We wear 2 masks, we wear gloves, we sanitize between each drop. We keep everything separated in coolers. I mean, I have my ServSafe certification. I'm a ServSafe manager, but there was no chapter on how to deliver stuff during a pandemic in your car. So we just overcorrect or overdo it where we can. And then for the rest of it, just try to maintain that level of humanity and that level of connection so that it doesn't feel so sterile, you know? And that's why like we haven't really shifted to a traditional e-commerce, because I still want to be messaging people to connect with them.
You know, if anyone's in any delivery and especially in the early days when someone was pulling up without a glove,
Right.
I mean,
without masks, you go like, okay, like this is like, I'm gonna have to wipe everything down. I gotta take extra safety precautions on my end because of how many people were in between this. It's nice to know that people who are making it are also delivering it, and it's really 2 or 3 people in that social quarantine circle that are from start to finish of making and delivering.
Right.
Yeah, and even on like when people pick up, you know, we put the product into the trunk. There's no contact. There's always gloves.
We don't take
on.
cash. It's all via literally anything we can do to separate that while still. It's like that old adage of like service versus hospitality. Yeah. It's good service right now to be really safe and overdo it, and then it's like our job to inject a little bit of hospitality into it so that it doesn't feel so apocalyptic, you know.
But I think good service is equaling good hospitality these days.
Yes. Yes.
I think it's
they run in tandem. They compound each other anyway.
So you guys have talked a little bit about your growth, even though it's only been a month, although it's felt like, I don't know, 6 years. It's the longest days and the shortest weeks. And I think that's really a great way of thinking about time these days. But you have seen growth. The word has gotten out. And I'd love for you to talk a little bit how that growth has happened, obviously organically, but then also sharing some of the stories about people who have received some of your pasta and cookies.
Yeah, I mean, it's been absolutely insane to see how quickly things have exploded, really. I think a lot of it just has to do with the fact that this business started on Instagram and everyone is glued to their screens. I think a little bit of it is just like we knew exactly what we wanted to do and we're able to communicate it right away. And that, you know, like immediate like mission and going out strong with that definitely helped. But then also just like I was saying earlier, people just want to do good and they want to know where to put that good. And so that has really been the compounding factor of the growth for this business and for this endeavor. It's been really cool to see people again. So that's been the big thing. Like having people sort of be like our cheerleaders and our evangelists on Instagram, amidst their neighbors, their like coworkers. We have people. I did a drop a few days ago. She was a surgeon at the Children's Hospital. We dropped at her house and we like packaged a bunch of cookie dough, extra cookie dough for her to give to the nurses and to the staff. And she like sent me a picture in the ward and everyone was like carrying the cookie dough. And, you know, we didn't share it for like, you know, privacy reasons or whatever, but it just seeing your stuff in the hands of people who are themselves giving so much, it got me a little teary-eyed.
Yeah, once it went out from our friends and family starting to get the product and stuff, and then you start seeing, you know, people just discovering it and reaching back out, and you know, it went from people that believed into the food bank into our former hospitality workers to then influencers in the scene. And it kind of just hit those hands where people just wanted to really interact with the product and just kind of create and show it and be able to like have that natural growth, because, you know, it's great that like you can come in and bake the cookies and put it on Instagram and like show your product and show the finished touch, and like each batch looks different because everybody bakes them differently, and who follows instructions, who doesn't, you know, like that's the big thing. But yeah, I mean, to see just how, you know, dropping the pasta off at the food bank, seeing how people are really appreciative. Like one time we got an order and it was one of my cooks that worked with us at the Hoxton. She was picking up pasta and I didn't, you know her Instagram or like whatever. And she Venmo'd and she came down and picked up and I was like, Mary, what are you doing here? Like, what, like, she's just like, I wanted to support Chef. And like, I was like, I can't take this. Like, you know, I had to send your money back right now. Like, I just need you, like, you know, but I was like, it went down to just, you know, seeing the fact that she just wanted to be a part of it and just say thank you for like everything that you're doing. It's like, that like really hit home. So.
Felt amazing. And yeah, I think like we want, like I said earlier, we want to keep growing this so that we can maximize our impact, but we don't want to grow so much that it's like gross,
Yeah.
or like
We don't-
it's not about our success. It's about like what is the most we can give, and that's why like even this week we're at a point now where we feel comfortable we can donate a minimum of 500 pounds a week, even if we don't sell enough for that. And so we made that pledge, and that's what we're gonna do.
And you did it. You hit the
Yeah.
500 pounds for the food bank, which is
Yeah.
an incredible feeling.
Insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
And we'll do it again and again and again. And, it's always going to be needed. And, hopefully if we're back in our restaurants, we keep it going. Or if we keep this going, we'll always make something to keep our staple as giving back. In some way or another, people need, and we'll just continue to make it go on.
Is this something that continues? I mean, I don't see homemade pasta and sauce and cookie dough going out of style no matter what's going on in the world. So is it something where you could feasibly have a job and then do this to raise money for the food bank?
I mean, I think we talk about this every day. Like we count ourselves very, 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 very lucky to be healthy today. And so I'm a little bit superstitious. He knows this. He says it's a lot about
I just
me.
say we're going to keep going. I project stupid amounts to donate. I say we're going to do this much, and he's like, no, you're not. And I'm like, yeah,
And
we
he's
are.
right.
And
He's
we're
right
like,
every
we
time.
actually do it. And he's like, okay, shit, we're not listening.
But the
So-
truth is we have to, we keep reminding ourselves, things are still bad out there.
Yeah.
We don't know when it's appropriate to even really start thinking about that. And so, like you said, it's day by day, week by week.
Yep.
Know what our plans are for next week. I'm really excited about next week's
Yeah.
plans. We have a lot of cool
We're
stuff
gonna
in the
crush
works,
it.
hopefully.
Yeah, we will.
No, we'll crush it. But, down the road, we'll see where this takes us. And as long as we're sticking to the mission, which is give back, do good, be transparent, pay it forward, spread the love to our hospitality family. As long as we do those things, then we're happy.
Yeah.
The rest is just bonus.
Yeah, we'll stick by those guidelines, 100%, because
So-
if not, then there's no reason to do it.
I mean, look, you guys are doing a really great thing, and I think you've seen what you guys are doing, the Notes Without You guys, even the stuff coming out of New York with Save Our Restaurants. There is hope and there is really great things happening, and I think there is a silver lining. I think there is some sort of good stuff that's going to come out of it. What do you see as the silver lining to this? What do you see as something that once we get through this is going to be better than where we are now?
I can say with certainty that adage that's going around right now of community over competition is going to remain true, especially in Los Angeles. I can't speak for other cities because I'm not a part of those restaurant communities anymore. For Los Angeles, just to see the amount of collaboration and support that we've received and have been able to also give to other organizations, other groups, other pop-up restaurants, small businesses, independent bars, people that are really out there cheering each other on in a way that is not contrived.
Mm-hmm.
It's not expecting anything back. It's purely because we love each other. We want to get through this together. We want to see those people that are really showing up right now. We want to see those people succeed moving forward, because those are the people that ultimately, and I exclude us from this, but I'm saying those people really deserve to be the leaders of our industry and need to have a voice moving forward so we can keep doing good. And we can keep saying, hey, this is what we value, this is what's important. And anybody who doesn't believe it, I'm sorry, when life is on the line,
Yeah.
what mattered most, right?
What did you do?
What exactly. We also understand how much has been lost, and there are people that just don't have the resources or the time or even emotional bandwidth to do what we're doing. And so it's easy also to say oh, why aren't you giving? Everyone is doing their part. And even if it's a follow, you're sharing a story, you're liking a story. I think somebody posted this the other day of what's a way to contribute to a small business without paying any money. There are 9 things that you can do, and all of those things actually matter. So everyone is doing their part. And I really believe, especially in Los Angeles, that is the new way forward. No more, I don't hating on this restaurant because they're not, doing this.
No time for that.
No, there's no time.
No time. Whenever we come back, and whoever comes back, because not everyone's going to come back, It's going to be all hands support, everybody in together, because it's going to be rough. It's going to be a rough ride for everyone, and there's no room for any fighting.
And if it's not going to be, or if you don't think it's going to be,
it is.
you're part of the problem.
You know,
It better be. It has to be, because
you're not
we're
about
screwed without it.
Yeah,
You know,
if you're
we're
not
screwed
about the
without each other.
community anymore, then that has to be your main purpose.
Yeah.
You know, it's really about, you know, your surrounding area, and it's not about yourself anymore.
No. Well, guys, I cannot thank you enough for all you're doing. If people want to get pasta, sauce, cookie dough, you know, follow for updates and things like that, where can they go?
At Few for All on Instagram, and just DM us to order, or if you have questions, we're responsive. And then hopefully we'll have a website come up soon, like in the next week or two. So
Sure.
we're working on it.
Expect me to slide into your DMs in the next week
Okay.
for some more
Something I
pasta.
look forward to so much.
Yeah. All right, guys. Be safe out there. Talk to you
brother.
soon. Ramsey, Tyler, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy cooking and delivery schedule. If you live in LA and you want to order some of their food, we have a link in the description below. And if you just want to have some idea of how they got started and follow along for some inspiration, you can check out the same link below. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.